do me a favor, and if there's questions that come up during the NEAT presentation, you might be inclined to help me answer some of the questions that might come up in chat. If you'd be so kind. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to dive in because I want to make sure that we have time to go through everything today. I appreciate everybody joining. We've got all of my amazing friends and colleagues from the NEAT team joining us today. So the second half of the call, we're going to dig into some great information from the folks at NEAT, but we've got a little bit different platform today. So thank you for your patience and registering for and joining the webinar. This is new for me too. So we're all kind of learning together, but I think this is a better platform to have more success and scale, I think, with these sessions. So again, thanks for joining. Glad to have you, as always, part of this community. I've been meeting with a lot of you individually recently, getting to know our Evolving Partners community a little bit better. And I'm so appreciative that you're here. And I hope that you're beginning to see a lot of value from this community as well. So today, instead of going through updates from Microsoft, what I'm going to do is send those updates that you want to be aware of, like as a, for example, tomorrow there's some key licensing updates that are being announced. So stay tuned for a newsletter for the traditional updates that I usually cover in this monthly community call. Today, what we're going to do is go through basically the AI-powered workplace go-to-market pitch, what our go-to-market strategy is for aligning Teams rooms with Copilot to really compete against BYOD and help our customers reach ROI and adoption for their Copilot investments, and doing that through the use of native Teams rooms devices. So what we're going to do is I'm going to attempt to equip you with clear customer-ready methodology for positioning Teams rooms together with Copilot as not just a productivity solution, but using Copilot as your meeting manager. Okay, using Copilot as a true meeting management solution across the full meeting lifecycle, meaning before the meeting starts, during your meeting, and after the meeting. So I think this will be really useful for you all individually if you haven't started using Copilot in this way yet, but also this will give you the information to guide your customers through these conversations as well. So quick snapshot at the agenda. So this, as I mentioned, this is a new platform. We are recording right now. So we will go through my presentation in the first half and then hand it over to my friends at NEAT. We will handle questions in the chat. Jimmy and Prashant and other team members are here to help answer questions. But when we want to get to Q&A, I'll go ahead and stop the recording and cover questions outside of the recording as well. So we'll go through the business of what I call the business of meetings, right? Positioning Copilot as a meeting manager. We'll go through talk tracks and kind of translating a lot of the what seems to be still conceptual marketing speak around Copilot and what that means in the meeting room. And then we'll hand it over to my friends at NEAT to talk about their solution updates, what to watch for that's coming down the road from NEAT. And then they're going to do a great sort of demystify MDEP for us. And then we'll do Q&A, okay? Okay, so I'm going to dive in. And this is, just so that you're aware, this is the consolidated presentation that I have been delivering, gosh, it feels like almost daily, to our breadth reseller partners. So I've been doing a ton of webinars recently for our partners, training their sales teams, training distribution sales teams on this exact presentation. And it seems to be sort of, causing some light bulb moments to happen. So I wanted to share this information with you as well. So without further ado, let me dive in. And as always, drop your questions in the chat or wait till the end if you want to go live. Okay. The AI platform shift, as everybody on this call knows, it's not theoretical anymore, right? It's happening right now. So we are seeing a massive planned investment and usage of Microsoft Copilot. And what this is doing is it is creating a lot of pressure within our customer organizations to achieve ROI on these investments. You cannot get to ROI unless you reach that sort of standard adoption curve tipping point, right? But Copilot isn't something that we're going to deploy in an organization and get 100% adoption overnight or even within 6 months. Adoption takes time for Microsoft solutions like Microsoft Copilot. A lot of our users are still seeing and using Microsoft Copilot as a glorified search engine. And that is, can be understood because it kind of looks like a search engine at first glance when you're in Microsoft, the business chat component of Copilot for Microsoft 365. So it looks and feels like a search engine, and they haven't quite, reached their light bulb moment and how to flip over to using it as a really proactive generative AI productivity tool. Okay. So this is just, I share this slide just to kind of point out one key factor that I want you to keep in the back of your mind. Big investments are being made in a solution that is still pretty conceptual for a lot of people. So we need to help our customers, guide them to how to achieve ROI through adoption. So keep that in the back of your mind. Also, what's happening is that we have a tremendous amount of burden to manage our meetings, plan our meetings, schedule our meetings. If we think back to 20 years ago, when Matt Brungart and I, who's one of our presenters today, thanks for being here, Matt, when we were sitting in an office together, we worked together 20 years ago, we maybe had 1 or 2 scheduled meetings a day. The bulk of what we were doing when we went into the office was the true high value parts of our jobs. We were meeting with customers, calling customers, building scope of works. We were preparing quotes. We were processing, purchase orders. We were doing the high value parts of our job. And meetings took up a very small portion of our day-to-day work. And you know that when we did have a scheduled meeting, we knew what we were supposed to do in that meeting. We showed up and there was an agenda and we knew what we were there to accomplish. We knew what the successful criteria would be and outcomes. And maybe there was even like a printed off agenda. Everyone came in with their pen and notes. And it was a very, very successful, intentional meeting, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it was. Now, fast forward, this will be relatable for everybody, I'm sure. It's not just me. The bulk of what I do every day is meetings. And a very small percentage of my day-to-day is spent doing the high-value work that I was hired to do, right? My expertise and my skill set. So there has been a complete reversal. We are spending the bulk of our time in meetings, very little bit of our time actually doing what we said we would do in those meetings, or creating or building or doing proactive tasks, right? What we're doing is we're sitting in meetings. Okay. So this is the other thing I want you to keep in the back of your mind. So big investments are being made in our Copilot. It's still very conceptual, and we need to help our customers get to ROI. 2, we have too many meetings, and it's really consuming the amount of valuable time that we have in a day. Only have 8 hours. We're spending most of it in meetings, right? And the average time it takes for us to schedule a meeting is 15 minutes. Well, if you are like me and we have 8 meetings a day and we own most of our meetings, that's a heck of a lot of time that we spend just trying to get a meeting scheduled with the right amount of people, right contacts, when we're all happen to miraculously be available in the same 30-minute window, right? Okay, here's the other thing I want everybody to know. This is the core message. Organizations benefit from both Microsoft 365 Copilot and Microsoft Teams rooms. We know that Copilot, where it is being used and adopted, is happening more in Microsoft Teams than any other Microsoft application. You know that we have a flavor of Copilot for every Microsoft application, right? So there's a Copilot for GitHub, there's a Copilot for SharePoint and OneDrive and PowerPoint and Excel. If there's a Microsoft application, there's a Copilot for it. But where it is being used the most by a large margin is in Microsoft Teams. So let's leverage that adoption and awareness and use cases to help bring another point of where we can intersect Copilot and Microsoft Teams, which is in our physical meeting rooms. Okay, so probably everybody on here knows Copilot can help with things like summarizing our meetings, summarizing meeting perspectives, organizing action items, making notes searchable so that we can all get up to speed and do our jobs faster, right? And try to manage these meetings. And we know that Teams rooms enhance the in-room meeting experience, right? So I think everybody here knows why native versus BYOD from a traditional video conferencing sense. But I really want to make a distinction here that everything that I show you today on how to leverage Copilot as a meeting management tool for your Microsoft Teams meetings, when we want to transfer that from our desktop to a meeting room, we cannot do it if we do not have a native Microsoft Teams meeting device in that room, right? So the distinction is a BYOD versus native. If we take our computer, and I'll summarize this again, this is, kind of the core messaging here, and I'll repeat it at the end of my slides. If we have a BYOD device deployed in conference room B, and we take our PC, our laptop into that meeting room, and we're going to drive that meeting from our desktop, what we are doing is we are maintaining a personal productivity opportunity environment. What we have eliminated is the opportunity for a group productivity environment. So if I'm the only one in that room, that's fine. But that's very rarely the case, right? Usually I've got Jimmy to my left and Matt to my right and Graham's across the table. We do not want to create an environment where Copilot has no idea that those individuals were in the room. I am the only one who's feeding my Copilot brain, right? Copilot knows I was in the meeting and knows what I said in a BYOD scenario. But we have to expand this to a group productivity tool in order to help our customers reach that ROI and adoption that they need to reach, right? Okay, so I'm going to go through some actual use cases, but first let me frame up what the smart workplace is. So the smart workplace is coming about as a result of the first 3 slides that I showed you. Big investments are happening in AI. We need to reach ROI. We need to reach adoption. We have too many meetings. We've got flexible workspaces, and we absolutely have to start moving our customers, and many of them are already moving to a smart workplace. So how do we define this for our partners and our customers? A smart workplace has to have these 4 things. And when I say intelligent productivity, this is not about working smarter, not harder, or booking focus time during your day, or coming in earlier in the morning when it's quieter and getting more work done then before your meetings. That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about intelligent productivity, right? Like bringing in tools like Microsoft Copilot to help boost efficiency, speed, fostering deeper connections. So if we are in hybrid meeting environments, we actually are having truly valuable connections with the people that we're meeting with, and doing it securely and in a flexible, dynamic way. So back to 20 years ago when Matt and I were in the office together here in Kansas City, the office looked the same every day. When I walked through that front door, it was the same faces in the same places doing the same roles Monday through Friday. It was not dynamic at all, but we know that is not the case today. When I walk into a Microsoft office, it could be a different office anywhere in the world at this point on a Monday. It could be different people, in different spaces doing different roles any day of the week. So we have to have a dynamic workplace that meets the needs and demands of the people that are in our offices doing their roles on any given day. Okay, so that's the smart workplace. And then we bring in the AI component to that, right? So what is the AI-powered workplace? It's the same strategy, right, of a Microsoft smart workplace, but now we have this umbrella, right, of Microsoft Copilot that bridges the gap and allows us to be smarter and more efficient in this way. So we're going to coordinate our people and our places so that we know which rooms are being used, who's going to be in those rooms, that they know how to get to those rooms, that it was easy to book those rooms and coordinate them, really eliminating a lot of the logistical low and zero value tasks when it comes to coordination of people and places. And then when we get to conference room B, right, we know that there's going to be modern devices deployed in that room. When I say modern device, I mean one that will work natively in the Microsoft Teams environment, in the Microsoft Copilot environment, and then using AI to optimize all of these strategies, right? So getting actionable data from the modern devices and the tools like Microsoft Places that we have to coordinate our people and our meeting rooms and our devices. Okay, so that's the AI-powered workplace, right? And what we talk about a lot of times is what this means at Microsoft. So we use Microsoft Copilot, Microsoft Teams, and Microsoft Places to achieve the AI-powered workplace at Microsoft. This means that when I'm in a different Microsoft office every week, I know before I even arrive to the Toronto office that my team knows that I'm going to be in Toronto for XYZ days, that I have a meeting room that was booked for me, that I know what devices are in that meeting room so that I can have productive meetings, that my badge has been updated to be able to enter that meeting. And then if that meeting got moved, or if a more priority meeting got booked in my space and I got moved to a different space, that I have been alerted to that, really eliminating low and zero value tasks so that I can focus on what I need to do when I get to the Toronto office, right? Okay, so let's dive into what it means to use Copilot as our meeting manager. I've told a few of you this story, but a couple of months ago, I just found myself so just burnt out and really struggling how to prioritize meetings, how to prioritize tasks versus meetings, trying to make sure that my meetings were productive, because now we're just in back-to-back meetings. So, and it's just us. Like maybe 20 years ago, it would have been 5 different people that could book our meeting room for us, make sure someone was taking notes in that meeting, make sure that the AV equipment in that meeting room was ready, make sure that everyone knew where the meeting room was. Now it's just us. Like we are the CEOs of all of our meetings, right? And it's just, it's not scalable. It's really stealing that productive time away from us. So I went online and I asked Copilot, you know what, I'm really struggling here. Truly tell me, Copilot, how many steps are there to have an actually like a productive meeting? And I was guessing like 4 or 5. And then Microsoft told me there's 16. And I thought, well, I'm out because I don't have time to do one of these right now. So how can I possibly have time to do 16? But I said, you know what? Okay, Copilot, I'll bite. Like, what are actually the 16 steps? Because that seems excessive. And it turns out that Copilot was really thorough when it was determining, and getting back to me on what the actual 16 steps were to have a successful meeting. So here's where we kind of pivot. Because nobody has time to do this without using a tool like Microsoft Copilot in an AI method and strategy, right? But these are all meeting 101 things that we should be doing. Nobody has time to do them because we're all our CEOs of our whole calendar of meetings. So we have to be able to learn how to pivot and think of Copilot as a meeting operating system, okay? It helps us prepare, run, and follow up consistently. So if we look at before the meeting, Copilot, I think everybody here has probably done a little bit of this. So the meeting helps us define the purpose, success criteria, draft and share agendas, schedule inclusively, making sure that all of our remote sites are able to join no matter where they're joining from, prepare the technology, and assign roles. So this is meeting 101, right? We should be doing this for all of our meetings. But I think so that's kind of new muscle memory, right? And I'll show you an example of how you can easily do this. And this, I think, makes sense to people. But then when we talk about during the meeting and after the meeting, this is where the magic sauce of bringing Copilot into our Teams meetings rooms really starts to make sense and a difference in our day-to-day. So let me give you an example. So if we stay within the before the meeting phase. So just to give you a quick example, I used the prompt for an upcoming meeting that I had. Copilot, I've got a meeting with my director to review the latest slide deck for partner enablement. Please help me define the meeting purpose and success, create an agenda, draft an email that I can share with my leadership, and assign roles for the meeting. And within a second, this is what I got back. And I think everyone can see, okay, well, this would make a big difference, right? So if I knew every meeting that I joined had this kind of information and pre-read details in the meeting invite, this would be helpful and help us be, able to accomplish what we came to do in the 30-minute meeting instead of spending 15 minutes going over this information at the beginning of the meeting, spending 15 minutes on what we want to do today, running out of time, booking a follow-up meeting for next week, right? So it's just like that negative feedback loop. So that's very easy. But then let's talk about some of the things that we can do. Oh, actually, I want to talk to you a little bit about, these got out of, oh, here, no, that was right. Let me go back and remind or remind myself how I wanted to do this. Okay, so let me just show you a quick screenshot. If you're not using Facilitator as an agent in your Microsoft meetings, please start leveraging this as a tool now, because Facilitator is what I call your meeting manager with an MBA. Facilitator is an agent, aka a virtual teammate that you can bring into every single meeting. So when you're scheduling your meeting, you're going to drop this information into the invite, right? You're going to schedule the meeting and you're going to add Facilitator to the meeting. So you can actually go in and determine if you want Facilitator to automatically join all of your meetings. You can choose how you want to do that. But if you just want to try it and bring Facilitator into one of your meetings, this is how you can do it. And I do want to call out also that Copilot can now actually automatically reschedule meetings on your calendar if you get double booked, or if someone who was required for your meeting gets double booked. You can select automatically reschedule with Copilot. Again, that's eliminating the low and zero value tasks of managing our meetings, so that you can just focus on the meeting content. Okay, so that's something that I suggest is a step that you start doing before your meeting, when you're planning out your meeting and scheduling your meeting. But let's talk about what happens during and after the meeting, where the magic of Microsoft Copilot and Teams rooms really happens. So we've already done 5 steps, but guess what? We have 14 more steps, or 9 more steps to go. Really important steps that we should all be doing. It's all part of Meeting 101. We just don't, our meeting culture has changed, so we're not doing a lot of these things. We don't have time to do a lot of these things, but Copilot can absolutely help. So let me give you some actual examples on how we can do this and how we can talk about it. So again, let's talk about Facilitator. If we have Facilitator enabled, when we are in the hypothetical conference room B that I've mentioned, we can walk into that meeting room, scan a QR code that's going to be on the display. That brings Facilitator, aka your meeting manager with an MBA, into your meeting, right? And if you've used Copilot in a Teams meeting, you know it's a one-to-one conversation, right? It's a personal productivity tool. Facilitator is an agent that comes into the meeting. It looks similar, but everyone who's in that meeting can see what's happening in the Facilitator chat. Everyone can add questions, agenda notes, assign tasks, and everyone can see what's happening. You can ask Facilitator to research things for you on the fly if you have questions during your meeting. And it's absolutely something that is beneficial if you have hybrid or video additional endpoints or far end video sites that you're connecting to, or if you just are having a team meeting in conference room B with no far end video site. We leverage Facilitator in both meeting scenarios, because here's what happens. When you bring Facilitator in, this is the tool that is going to give everyone who's in this meeting access to the Copilot brain of this meeting. Right. So in my earlier example, when I said that if I have a BYOD device deployed and I bring my laptop in and I join the meeting that way, I'm driving the meeting from my computer. That is a personal AI productivity environment. If Jimmy's to my left and Prashant is to my right and Chris is sitting across from me, there's a huge gap, blind spot, right? In the contextual data and the AI data that's being collected for this meeting. If let's say Jimmy is our SVP and Prashant is our CIO, and they are contributing significant information to this meeting, setting goals, listing priorities for new KPIs, et cetera, for the next quarter, but Copilot doesn't know that they were in that meeting, their identity is not being attributed to that meeting, and they cannot go back and access the meeting information, right? So those gaps exist into perpetuity. If I am driving that meeting, Copilot knows I was there, and I can go into the meeting a week from now, go into the meeting recap and see everything that was discussed there. But I won't be able to see what Jimmy, our SVP, said were my new criterias for the meeting. And he won't be able to access that information either, right? So we're blocking, right? Which means we're not getting to that additional ROI, additional adoption, additional group productivity out of our Copilot investment. So the shift is to take it from being an individual, a personal productivity tool, to being a group productivity tool. So if you haven't seen Facilitator in your meetings yet, this is what you'll see. So Facilitator is going to be in your meeting chat. It will keep you on track with your agenda. So it will auto-populate, or you can add on the fly agenda items, and it will do all of these steps for you, right? So if we had Facilitator in this meeting, it would show up in the chat and say, welcome everybody, I'm Facilitator. I'm here to welcome you to our meeting today and to make sure that we keep staying on track with our agenda. So it's already facilitating equitable participation, right? And greeting everyone, making sure they know that you can ask Facilitator questions. It will, if I'm the meeting host, it's going to tell me, hey, you've got 10 minutes left in your meeting. Let's move on to the next topic. It's automatically capturing notes and action items and assigning tasks. You can actually, this morning I was assigning myself tasks. Does anybody else do that in your meetings? So I was able to say, Amanda, you need to go in and confirm that you have booked this meeting spot for next Wednesday's meeting. And automatically I'm going to get an email that I have tasks assigned to me, right? And then monitoring engagement obviously is critical as well. So that's during the meeting, and that's really, really important so that we can just focus on the meeting task at hand. Really quick mention too, before I hand it over to the NEAT team here in just a couple slides, that the interpreter agent is now available, right? So if you haven't started using the interpreter agent, you can actually do that by just clicking on settings and going into select translation and interpretation, and select the language that you would like to hear the information presented to you in. So imagine me being able to speak the only language I know, right? My first spoken language, but present it in real time to far end video sites in their preferred language. I mean, that's a huge factor for success in our meetings during the meetings. So I wanted to call that out as well. But let's quickly look at what happens after the meeting, okay? So we can, if we've had Facilitator in our meeting with us, here's some of the things that you might be able to do. You can go in and create an executive summary. So we click on the recap of the meeting afterwards, and we get our really smart AI notes. We can see a copy of the agenda, and maybe there's a strike through 4 out of 5. So we know there's one more agenda item we didn't get to. So there's a summary, right? And who said what? That's all really beneficial. But this is where, like, for me, it's the generative AI component that is so impactful. And we want everyone who was in this meeting to have access to the generative AI components of Microsoft Copilot. So one thing that you might be able to do, and this is an app that we actually do with Adobe, but you can go into the meeting notes and then do things like draft a brief, create an executive summary, draft a PowerPoint presentation, or just for an example on how impactful this is, create a campaign. Okay, and so then within a couple of seconds, we actually get a campaign, and it's based on the decisions that we were having in our meeting. So the meeting was really important. We showed up, we had an agenda, we knew what the success criteria was. Everyone in the meeting felt included, it was inclusive, and everyone that was in that meeting had their identity attributed to the meeting and can now, after the meeting, do the part that is actually really like the whole reason we were meeting anyways, is to make the decisions and then execute on what it was that we were deciding, right? So we want to be able to use the meeting information to generate new content. Now, you may not use this content like as is, right? But it's giving you a starting point. You don't have to spend 30 minutes in a meeting and then go back to your desk and start from scratch. You already did the important stuff, right? You sat in the meeting, you made the decisions, you were there, you were listening, you participated, decisions were made. Now it's time to execute. Why do we want to start over at ground zero? We wouldn't. We want to leverage what we did in that meeting to create the new content, right? To be able to execute on things more efficiently and productively. So for example, creating a content, this gives you or creating a campaign, this gives you a starting point, right? So that you can actually start to execute and maybe like start and finish some of the things that you agreed to do in so many of your meetings that we run out of time to do because we just had more meetings, right? So I hope that this kind of shows you at the core, the value of using Copilot as your meeting manager before, during, and after the meeting, but then also the importance of having this in the physical meeting room, a native Microsoft Teams room scenario or solution deployed in every meeting space, because you need to be able to capture this type of content and meeting AI smart meeting notes so that you can develop content faster across the board, not just in the large boardroom. Yes, always the large boardroom and all of the additional meeting spaces beyond there, right? We want to move from individual productivity to group productivity, which requires the native Microsoft Teams room solution. So we're going to go into next month when we meet. I'm going to do like another 15 minutes on this topic and kind of take you to the next layer of what this looks like for Microsoft Teams rooms in the physical meeting space. But hopefully this got you kind of set up with what the foundational message is. And I think with that, I will hand it over. Melissa, am I handing it over to you?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Okay, terrific.
All right, I'm going to, let's see if this is going to share. Let's just share it this way. Present. All right.
Right, we got it.
All right, perfect. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Allen. Let's see if this is, hold on one second. There we go. I am the Alliance Manager here in the Americas. And today we're going to take you through some introductions, and then I'm going to do a neat overview portfolio of our programs and value prop. And then we're actually going to talk about some new stuff and see some of our technology in action. So here are a few of our presenters today. So again, myself, Melissa, again, the Alliance Manager here in the Americas. We have Graham Walsh, who is our Microsoft MVP and Technical Director. He's going to be walking us through some of our new stuff that's coming out. And then we have Matt Brungart, who's our Distribution Director of the Americas. We also have Darren Worthington online, one of our solutions engineers. If you have any questions, he'll be able to answer some of them in chat. So first, I'm going to actually pass it over to Matt, and he's going to do a little bit of channel update. And so I'm going to pass it over to you, Matt.
Yep. Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, I just have a couple of things to give an update on before I'll turn it back to you. But I just wanted to kind of show just how we're expanding our channel organization and the investment we're making. So we've added quite a few new faces to our team. Nick Burton runs our Americas channels, as well as we just brought on Peggy Crespin to help with our field team. So right now we have 8 CAMs in the field. We also have 5 national CAMs. And then we started a new inside channel account team that I run and support as well, which I know a lot of your partners, or the partners on the call today, will utilize Jim and Melissa. And then we also have 2 distribution CAMs as well. So as we continue the expansion, use our distribution partners. So just want to show that investment we're making into the channel, and then wanted to thank you all for supporting NEAT. And then also, if you haven't signed up yet, kind of want to talk through that as well. So a couple of quick things, just some of the stuff that you can win with NEAT on is economics, right? So basically we have taken out our deal registration. So just an update for the channel community, there's no minimum for deal registration. So if we're in Microsoft Teams opportunities, please go online and register those deals, and we can get you, set up with those additional points as well. Right now, currently it's an incremental 8% that we protect you on. Our program itself is made to be faster velocity through our distribution partners. So if you are net new to NEAT, I would say just reach out to one of our approved distribution partners. We can get you set up with an account pretty quickly, and then we can kind of walk you through what that partner program looks like on our side, whether it's going to be through my team or through Peggy's team. And I just want to make sure that you also reach out and know what we have on our partner portal. So we do have our partner portal at partners.neat.no. Great collateral based on Microsoft. So a lot of stuff that you can do around Microsoft on co-branding materials too. So you can have our logo, you can have your own logo, you can have Microsoft on any of our documents and even our design guides. So I definitely would recommend that we go there, reach out to myself or my team to help you walk through that. And just know that we are channel first model. So we have 95% of our business is going through the channel. So we would love to work with you on more opportunities. So please reach out. Easy enough. You can go to partners@neat.no, or you can reach out directly to me, and we'll get you set up or answer any of the questions that you have. So real quick for me, I'll turn it back over to Melissa to go on to the next speaker.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt. Okay. So we're going to go through where we started, where we are, and then I'll pass it over to Graham to tell you some new stuff and where we're going. So this slide here, where did we start? So Neat actually started back in 2019 as a Zoom only provider, but our Microsoft story really took off in 2022. That's when we achieved MTR certification for that original lineup, which you're seeing here, the Neat bar, the Neat pad, and the Neat board. But by the end of that same year, we rounded out our certification for our Neat Bar Pro, which is our large room solution. So while we've only been about 3 years as a Microsoft OEM partner, we've quickly moved to having our entire core lineup certified. So almost every device you see here is running the native Teams Room on Android app. So users are going to get that consistent Microsoft experience that they're used to, but you will notice the Neat frame there in the mix. It's important to distinguish that the frame is operating a little differently. It's running the Microsoft Teams display app. And why that's important is the app is no longer an active development by Microsoft, so there will be no new feature releases or bug resolutions moving forward. But what does that mean for customers who already have these Neat frames? While it's no longer supported by Microsoft, you can still use them. So customers can use them in Neat Open to run some third-party apps like Virtual Front Desk, which you're seeing here, which is great. What's great about Virtual Front Desk is that it actually uses the Microsoft SDK, so you can still get that high-end visitor management and receptionist tools that plug into your existing Microsoft environment. So since 2022, we've really rounded out our Microsoft lineup. So with the original board reaching end of life, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, we've doubled down on that all-in-one category with our Neat Board 50, which you'll see on the right, and then the Neat 65-inch Neat Board Pro. So these are our all-in-one MTR devices, and Graham will talk a little bit more about these here in a bit with another new addition. We've also introduced the Neat Center. You'll see that one hanging from the ceiling there. It's a 360-degree companion camera and mic array that plugs directly into the network and makes sure everyone in the room is seen and heard perfectly. And then one key addition is our Neat Bar Gen 2, which you will see right above that original Gen 1 bar. And so while many customers and partners still have those Neat Bar Gen 1s, it is limited to Android 10, which means its Microsoft certification is actually ending in September. So this actually creates a really great refresh conversation. It's the right time to check back with those customers about trade-ins or moving them up to the Gen 2 bars to make sure the rooms stay secure and fully supported by Microsoft. And I did just briefly touch on that, the Android 10 story. So I'm going to actually pass this to Graham super quick to talk the next 2 slides about that end of certification with Android 10, and then I'll take it back over and move on from there. So I'm going to pass it to you, Graham.
Thank you, Melissa. So hi, everyone. Android 10 is coming to its end of certification and September 2026 this year. So the devices are still supported today, and many customers are still using them, so that's all fine. But sort of one advice here is to stop planning for that migration to a newer piece of hardware. And the nice thing what we've done when we migrated from bar 1 to bar 2 is that actually we made the same mount available. So it just slots in and slots out above that TV or below the TV that you have it in your conference room. And what that means is you can actually reuse that Neat pad, because the Neat pad in this current release of software now on our latest version is on Android 13. So that means your bar will be your bar Gen 2 or bar Pro, if you want to upgrade the bar to a bigger one, will be on Android 13, and also your Neat pad. So a simple factory reset, and you can migrate that to a new Microsoft Teams room. Or alternatively, if you want to put that bar on BYD mode, again, move the pad to another room, or make it a scheduler outside the room. So using that new Teams shared space license that's coming out tomorrow, or your Teams shared device license you have today, you could put Teams panel outside and then use that BYD in the room, and then still get analytics in your Pro Management portal as well. So lots of options for customers with existing generation bars and also boards. So again, put that into BYD mode and use capabilities on there once it goes end of life. So come the 3rd of September 2026, it won't just stop working. It will carry on working, but for how long, we don't know. One thing that'll probably happen is you won't get any more Teams app updates. So just like how Windows MTRs behave on Windows 10, they stop getting updates, the same will probably happen with the Android side as well. So you'll get, it will work for a certain length of time. So it's advisable to let your customers know that that migration will have to take place to a newer piece of hardware. So we started our journey moving to Android 13 end of last year. So we've migrated everything over, and it's again over-the-air update. It's very simple, and it's done overnight, so no customer sees it's been upgraded. You'll only notice in your Teams Admin Center that's got a newer firmware, or in Intune it'll show Android 13. So that means that your existing Gen 2 hardware, so your Bar Pro, your Neat Pad, your Bar Gen 2, and the new boards that we've shown, they will all run Android 13. And this is all certified now. So if you look on the certification list on the Learn site, you'll see it's all certified. And that was all done and dusted, I believe, just before ISE this year, so end of January. And also, we're looking at Android 15 moving forward on our Gen 2 hardware. So again, that's going to be available later on this year. So moving it onto Android 15, so you constantly get those security patches and updates for them.
Perfect. All right, I'll take it back over and I'll throw it back to you in a few minutes, Graham. So a couple things to finish out on. I do want to highlight our product evaluation program, our PEP program. This is our 30-day trial that lets customers test our devices in their own environments. It's the best way really to see all the features in action and make sure the hardware is exactly the right fit for specific spaces before making that commitment. So we offer this concierge service in over 40 countries. We handle all the logistics. It's completely low risk way to test drive the devices and our Neat Pulse management system. And we really see a really high success rate with these trials turning into full scale deployment. So I really just wanted to highlight that as an option we have. Express install. We know that many customers face barriers to deploying rooms today, specifically budget constraints and that installation complexity. So what Express install is aiming to do is remove these obstacles by eliminating the need for, all those outside contractors, custom screen mounting, lengthy room downtime. So this approach really aligns perfectly with Neat because, and we're leading the motion with our Neat Board 50 and Neat Board Pro because these are all-in-one devices, really the gold standard for rapid deployment because they reduce the process to really 3 simple steps: unplug and unbox and unplug, no drilling required, no mounting, follow the guided setup, just selecting teams and signing in, and then start your meeting. The room's ready to go in minutes without ever having to open an IT ticket. So really it's all about turning the space into a high impact collaboration room with 0 downtime. So the real magic of that simplicity that we were just talking about is what happens after day 1. When you strip away all the clutter, the ROI really starts to show up immediately. So we have some stats here. 81% of our customers were able to cut out 3 or more of their traditional AV components, fewer boxes, fewer cables, most importantly, fewer points of failure. Because the tech just works, our customers are seeing a 70% drop in IT support tickets on average. We even have one customer managing hundreds of rooms with just 3 people because their ticket volume plummeted by 98%. So really at the end of the day, if the tech is frictionless, people are actually going to use it. We're seeing 94% video utilization in a specific Fortune 100 firm right now. This is how you maximize your Microsoft Teams investment, making it so simple that IT stays happy and the workforce is staying connected, which is the most important part. And to put those numbers into perspective, Neat has moved way beyond just our startup phase. We've become a global standard with over 500,000 devices out in the wild in 20,000 different companies. Here you're seeing just a snapshot of some of the Microsoft customers who've standardized on Neat. And we are just talking about a few huddle rooms here and there. Brands like Red Bull Racing and Levi's are trusting us to power thousands of their meeting spaces globally. And for these guys, right, reliability is non-negotiable. They're choosing Neat because it removes the technical complexity and really that can really slow down a global rollout. And lastly, so we've seen the numbers. We aren't just resting on those stats in 2025. Our momentum within the ecosystem, Microsoft ecosystem, really grew leaps and bounds, and 2026 is looking even bigger. So to show you exactly where we're taking this partnership next, I'm going to hand it over to Graham for some updates. And Graham, I'll actually drop my content because it wasn't sharing live there. If you want to share yours so you can actually control her. Okay, perfect.
So, where are we going? So I want to conscious the time, and I want to make sure we can get a live demo as well of some of our new technology just been certified. So I will go through this at a blistering pace like the rest of the needs. So we are bringing out a new, we're calling it more of a huddle room system. It can be used for, again, multiple different ways of utilization. So personal space, huddle space, small meeting room or focus room. And it's going to be on your Neat Board 32. So complementing our other two boards in the market already. And it'll actually be our first device on MDEP, so the Microsoft Device Ecosystem Platform. So what does that actually mean? So I've got a quick slide that actually breaks it down on, what is MDEP? And essentially it's, you've got your hardware at the bottom. I'll keep it very simple. You've got your processor, your memory, and everything that's inside the device and links to your display. And then you've got your base Android system. And this is all the AOSP, so the Android open source project. And then that's where Microsoft come in and secure it and make it all tight. Security, it's trusted, it has certificates enrolled in the factory, so it's super, super secure. So when it boots up, it knows it's a trusted device and certified device on there as well. But that doesn't stop Neat innovating. So we add our own layers. So our Neat secret source, like our Neat symmetry, our Neat boundary, all those clever things are not lost when we move to MDEP. So it's just adding that extra layer in and security from Microsoft. And then we have obviously the Teams Room application sitting on top, and then the security element around our management with Intune and Pro Management Portal. So that is the whole stack. We've just got an extra layer in the middle there, making that device some more features, and again, features that will come later on, that MDEP will bring us as well. So that's what MDEP is in short. Here's our lineup now in terms of our 3 different boards. So it will be utilizing that Microsoft Teams Room Pro license on that board 32, just like the other two spaces. And we've got a number of different table mounts for it. So table stand is the default that comes with it in the box. And then it also has a built-in Visa interface, so 100 by 100. So if you've already got a mounting arm for it on your desk, or you want to do your own wall mount, then that's built in. So with the other two boards, you had to buy the Neat wall mount. It's now built into the board 32. But we will have a flush wall mount, so it is ADA compliant as well. And then we've got 2 unique stands. We like to move things around at Neat and have them, adjustable to how you want them. So we've got an adaptive table stand, and then we also have a clamp table stand as well. So depending on these like little 4-person booths you may have, you can have it facing inward, so people can't see your call when you're having it in these small sort of huddle booths. And you can clamp it to the table, so no one takes it home, because they'll certainly want to, I'm sure. And we're not stopping there. We're now then going to bring a NeatPad Pro, so a new 10-inch controller. And actually, I have one here next to me, and this is a new all-in-one controller or scheduler. At launch, it will be a controller for your Microsoft Teams Room. So existing Neat Bar 2, or your Bar Pro, or your Board 50 or Board 65. So you can add it to that, or upgrade your 8 to a 10-inch if you want. But that'll run Neat OS on there to start with, and just a new, faster, quicker, obviously bigger real estate on there. But when we release it as a Teams panel, so that's scheduling panel outside the room, that is when it'll be running MDEP on there. So again, users won't know any different on where it's running, but that's the way we're processing it through the Microsoft certification. And we're going to have the NeatPad 8-inch in the lineup still as well. So that'll still be in market. This is just adding on an alternative. And again, it's got some great new features in there. So this one bracket that's included in the box can now simply be mounted many different ways. And actually, if you remember, that's a NeatPad box. It's quite large. We include all accessories, all the power mounting. That's NeatPad Pro. That's the new box. Very slim, saving on packaging and sustainability and everything else. And again, made from a lot of recycled material on there as well. So some great new features on there. And again, the same sensors, so temperature, humidity built in that we already have on the pad as well. And one of the new things we have there is that light bar on the side. So the previous pad had red or green. The new one is full RGB. So again, future plans is to put different occupancy states on there. So then we can look at Neat Center. So this is the first IP connected camera that is now certified for Microsoft Teams rooms. Again, it can be on the table, hung from the ceiling, very, very simple to deploy and add into your system, and now certified fully. It's actually in this month's news, what's new in March on the tech community. So it's fully certified to be added onto a room. So it's not a companion device for your laptop. It has to be paired on the network with your Microsoft Teams room from Neat. And again, we're moving that around. So we're going to have multiple Neat centers available as well. So today we support 2, but we've also got 3 in testing as well. So again, getting into those larger spaces, being able to capture more and more participants. So we can frame up to 24 people, and we'll cut to a demo of that very, very shortly. And again, working out who's looking where across the room, it's all natural. You don't have to worry about where you're sitting and where you're based in the room. It's all just going to work. So I'll save this for our demo live in a second. And some things that come in from the Microsoft platform is that we obviously have the ability to run digital signage. That's coming in the next app. It's in the public roadmap. So that's coming very, very shortly. So that'll be available on Neat devices. And running events like this, webinars, they're all coming now on the Neat devices as you can update the app from the Teams Admin Center. And really, a big change coming in the summer. So moving all your device management over to the Pro Management Portal. So again, that's a big lift that Microsoft are doing. So you have a single pane of glass to manage all your Teams rooms, your phones, and your panels. So all Neat devices will appear on there, and you'll do that full management from that as well. So I'm going to jump through a couple of slides. We can share these slides afterwards. But again, one of the important things I want to highlight, Amanda was talking about, how do we utilize the features that we have within Copilot, leveraging all those facilitator agents. So one of the key things we have is obviously having great audio and video around the room. So having the bar at the front picking up audio, the Neat Center has microphones in there. So then being able to capture everything around the room and then live translate that, use interpreter, and then obviously meeting notes. So having great audio is super important to having all these transcripts later on as well. So even our Neat pads have microphones built in as well. So super, super simple to deploy. Just plug in a network cable and everyone connects up. So that is what I want to take you through today. And we can now jump over to our Denver colleagues and let's see a live demo of Neat Center in action.
Perfect. Thank you, Graham. Thank you for the presentation here. Maybe throw me on the big screen if you can see me here in the Denver Aspen room. Okay, perfect. All right, so we are here sitting in a room with 2 centers, just like Graham was showing you those slides. And this is just group framing. And now we're leveraging a ton of AI in this space. So my voice is actually right now coming from this Neat Center with the microphones built into it. And as I move throughout this space, the AI is gonna decide where I'm at and send through the most gain. So right now I'm from this Neat Center, and then if I get up close here to the Bar Pro, now you're gonna hear me from the Bar Pro. So I have full mic coverage in this space, full 360 mic coverage and full 360 camera pickup, and I'll show you how we're doing that here with individual framing. So this is my friend Markeith here in the room. So if I'm talking to Markeith this way, you get the side of my face. That's not great for you. So that's what the center is built for, really. So let me sit down and throw this into individual framing. So you saw my bowling alley before. I had a big table at the front, and now the Bar Pro is capturing me. But this dynamic framing here is going to capture me from my front-facing view the whole time. So I'm looking at the bar right now. Markeith, let's have our conversation. Shift over the table this way. And now the Neat Center cameras, they're going to be active, and you're hearing me right here on this microphone. And that's all AI guys in the background looking for me and finding, where Markeith and I are looking in the space and framing us up that way. All I have to do is click one button to join the meeting, and then click one button to throw it into this individual framing mode. Now I can walk freely throughout the space as well and be tracked in my own little square. And like Graham was saying, we can frame up to many people in this space. And I'm going to come stand up here and stand next to Amanda with the screen here in the background. And now the Neat Center camera on the table, that's what's going to be framing me. And we're not scared of screens here. Our cameras can look at them and decide the difference between a 2D object and a 3D object in the space. And that's me right now. So Markeith, let's throw this into speaker focus real quick and show that. And then we'll hop out and show a Neat focus. So I'm going to throw it into speaker focus. Now what that is This is the time where we're leveraging audio to capture us. So that whole time we were kind of looking for the human silhouette. Now we're looking for audio. And you see how it's switching throughout the cameras? That's the AI deciding on where I'm looking. And now I'm going to turn and present to Markeith in the room. And I'm the main speaker, so it's capturing me right here. Again, I don't have to hit a button to do all this camera framing and switching. I just move throughout the meeting naturally, present to my board or present to whoever, and I'm good to go. Now, if I pass it over to Markeith.
Yeah, now as I begin to speak and I start discussing, about the next topic, it's going to capture me and bring me into focus. And this is, again, that AI, that built-in intelligence. So not only are we now tracking the human silhouette, now we're also bringing voice in as well. So the room is dynamically learning and adapting in real time.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, give us 1 second here and we're going to step out. But before we do that, we should probably show this off. You ready? All right. So what we did there, right? So we're capturing the human speech for the far end. So my frequency and my voice, that's what we want to send through. We don't want to send through clapping or bag of chips. We got a new door the other day. A guy was drilling on the door, and you didn't hear that on the far end. So again, human speech, we want to send that through to the far end. All right, give me one moment here, and we'll be right back outside.
Perfect.
Thanks.
While they flip over to that next room, I do want to point out one thing. So they're in our Denver Experience Center right now. We also have an Experience Center here in the US in San Jose, and we can do these live demos for your customers. So this is a powerful tool. They can walk through the entire space. We're just seeing 2 short clips today of 2 demos, but we can take 45 minutes, walk you through the entire space. So that's a really powerful tool and utilize it. They do amazing things. Okay, over to you guys.
They're muted.
It's like you guys are
unmute.
muted. Still can't hear you.
Still muted. So what they are trying to show is our sort of large space connected with third-party audio. So this is utilizing Shure audio connected to our Neatbar Pro, for example. So we can use third-party audio connected into our Neatbar Pro. And again, we're also going to make it compatible with other platform providers as well for external audio. So we've got a handheld mic, you can have lapel mics, and then there's ceiling speakers in there as well. So you can reinforce that in the room. Having troubles there probably with the controller where it's not unmuting us. But that's to give you an example of sort of those large spaces. And we've also got what we call neat focus, being able to simply focus on a certain area wherever you stand, and it'll just pan back out. There you go. So if you're in a certain zone, like at that podium or lectern, especially like education, it automatically switches in and out. So again, hands-free, you don't have to do anything. You can just walk around and present as normal. And again, it will do that symmetry also in those spaces as well. So again, very cool AI cropping and framing in the spaces.
Terrific. Thank you. Appreciate the demonstration. Thanks, guys. Okay. Any questions that we can take live while we've got the neat team with us here? Okay. I may ask Melissa if I can get a copy of your presentation. I will include that in the follow-up that I send out in the newsletter that goes out hopefully today. I appreciate everyone for being here. We're at time. So I mentioned in the chat that I created a prompt kit to actually go through the using Copilot as your meeting manager. So I'll send that out to the people that were on the call today. Let me know if you have any questions. Happy to go through it with you. Otherwise, stay tuned for the newsletter. Tons of new updates and announcements, things to be aware of in the next 24 to 48 hours. So we'll be sending that out. If you are going to Enterprise Connect, please, not Enterprise Connect, Microsoft 365, shoot me a message. We will have a presence there. So I won't be there, but we do have people that will be there. Representing our team. And other than that, stay tuned for next month's session. I'll do a little bit deeper dive in the next layer of using Copilot as your meeting manager and the impact in the Microsoft Teams physical meeting room. Thanks again for being here, everybody, and we'll see you next month.